In accordance with the governor's executive orders related to COVID-19, in-person attendance at tonight's BZA meeting will be limited. We have arranged a live stream of the meeting so that those interested at home can view. Yes. The meeting is slated to start at 7 o'clock. You can view the meeting via the website at in.org/view-now-meeting/. Then click on View Broadcast under the Live Broadcast tab. You will join the meeting through the link to participate during the public comment. Due to the unique nature of this meeting, the town of Cedar Lake will accept public comments submitted electronically. If you have a question or comment on an item on the agenda, please email that question or comment to michelle.baker@cedarlake.org. Ms. Baker will ensure that all submissions are shared with board members and that the submissions will also be entered into the minutes of the meeting. Please keep your comments civil and constructive to the policy issues on the agenda. With that said, if you would go ahead to the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nick Recupito,
Here.
Gary Wilkening,
Here.
John Kapora, Jeremy Kuiper, absent, Jeff Bungie,
Here.
David Ashton, Tim Kubiak,
Here.
Michelle Baker, here, Tammy Bilgrey here.
And number one, motion to approve the public meetings as
I'll second it.
motion made by John, seconded by Jerry. Roll call.
Nick Recupito,
Yes.
Gary Wilkening,
Yes.
John Kapora, Jeff Bungie,
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. Item number one this evening under old business. Builders, Park Pond, 8918 West 103rd Street, St. John, District LLC, PO Box 1343, South Point. No variance is 1.727 Redwood Avenue here in Cedar Lake. This developmental variance is to allow the city to build a new home with a front yard setback of 20 feet and a rear yard setback 9 foot 77 hundred. This is the deferral from the last monthly meeting. David, everything still in order? David. Welcome back.
Thank you, sirs. And ma'am, I think we did everything that we were looking to do last time. We have a letter from the attorney showing that there would only be one house built. We have a revised print and a revised survey. I believe everybody has a copy of it if you need copies of anything.
Is this the revised survey on here?
You have to remove that line, so it was one lot.
So the entire lot becomes,
One lot.
yes, sir.
It is one lot, or it will be one lot? It will be one.
It is one lot now, according to the paper that we did, and it is filed with county.
David can discuss and talk about the developmental content.
But it's actually not one lot, it's a number of lots. Considered that way. There was a development divided by broadcast gentlemen. I commented on that on August 4th. Have not heard anything back in response. The language that I was looking for, the statute, in code 3674, and after that, yes, conform to the take what you gave us. Just have to do it.
Okay.
So any decision should be contingent upon that? Any recommendation?
Minimally, they didn't meet the statutory requirements. And I correspond with the attorney first. So he got the comment, location.
Okay, all right, thank you. So what's in front of us now is a 26 foot setback in the front. Correct?
Correct.
And you're still requesting the 9-foot change in the back?
Well, the back house meets the setback. We're actually looking for the deck that's what sets us past, the building line. The house itself makes it.
Well, but in the way that our statute is
Yes, sir.
written, we have to consider that.
Yes.
Do you have anything else to present this time?
No, sir. We have copies of the house if you'd like to see them. Do you guys have copies? You have all
We
that?
have a copy of the
Okay.
site plan.
We're good.
Copy of the developmental.
Do you need it?
I mean, if they want to see what the house plan is going to look like, absolutely, you can give them a copy.
Oh.
But they do not have it currently.
Oh, they don't have it. Yeah, go ahead.
We do. You can give it to them.
Yeah, I've seen it, but yeah. We can't make copies of the full-size plan.
Can you see this, Nick?
No, I cannot.
A little hard.
Are you asking for a 12-foot deck in the back or a 16-foot deck in the back?
I'm sorry, I guess it is 16. 16 foot.
Does that still comply with the request of 9-foot?
No.
Site plan. 24-foot, the house setback is 12-foot.
Sorry?
So the site plan you turned in shows a 24-foot setback to the house with a 12-foot deck.
Yeah, I just seen that he drew in there a 16. We can change that to a 12 though. That would not be a problem.
Which would be a 12-foot rear yard setback.
Yes, a 12 foot. Well, if you're okay with the 9, I mean, we could just make it a 14 with a 9-foot setback. It's all woods to the back anyway. I mean, but I understand the less encroachment, the better.
Well, what they're talking, I mean, there's going to be drainage issues back there with that falls off the back of the water. Huh?
Yeah, so we should keep it at 12.
And we're still requesting the 26
I believe it was 20,
26.
26, yes.
The back is 24.
Jim, has Don or you been over there and really looked at this?
That property? Yeah, I mean, I've looked at it, but no, I mean, not more than any other thing. Don does a review on all of these site plans prior to the building permit being issued, once it's turned in for a building permit. Just to check the grades, and but we don't do anything prior to.
It's not in a floodplain.
Yeah, there's nothing out of the ordinary there where that house could be built there. Got a little bit of a hill there, but it's nothing surpassing.
Okay.
And the property behind it is green space for Havenwood, right?
Correct.
Which,
Drainage water outlet, yeah, it's the back of the wood open area.
and Havenwood owns that, or do the homeowners there? Well, I mean, does that property belong to the house that sits in front of it?
No, it's an outlot.
It's an outlot, so Havenwood owns it. They pay the taxes.
Pretty certain.
Yeah, okay. So nothing will ever be built there per se.
Correct.
Correct.
No, I'm good.
You would go on to never speak about going to the call for that. Do we have any demonstrators for this variance? Or do we have any demonstrators against this variance? Anyone in the building against? Do you have any demonstrators at the time?
Nobody
They
outside.
can come in now. I have nothing, I have no email.
I'll look for you, Jeff. Thanks, Jeff. Since you asked the question. Do we have any demonstrators online?
No, sir.
Any correspondence?
Only from the first meeting. But no, not additional.
That's the neighbor down the road, correct?
Yeah.
Nobody outside. All from outside.
Seeing none, we'll close the public portion of the hearing.
Michelle, was that letter you sent, is that part of a remonstrator on this?
No,
Okay, yeah. Come back up, please. Can we have, building department, any comment?
No, I mean, I think that they've made some pretty good adjustments from their first time. I mean, other than the comments about I think being able to build one house on the property was a great idea. The only other comment I have is that if a motion is favorable, I'd like to see that the 24-foot rear yard for the house would be 12 foot for the deck instead of just a flat 12-yard setback. So just so it's specified that the extra 12 feet is just for the deck only and not for just a 12-foot setback.
Yeah, we'll correct that in the print.
I mean, just for the record, so, I mean, so, yeah, I know there's some different things on there, but just so it shows that 24-foot setback for the house and 12-foot setback for the deck. It's clear. And then as far as Mr. Rausch's comments on that one lot, I'll make sure that that thing is
developmental commitment.
That's all I have.
Do they have to get that changed to a one-lot subdivision, or?
No, it's lots of record. It's good. It doesn't need to be, just combined it all into one, by the zoning commitment is combined into one parcel. It's already lots of record, but it's 8 lots. So this is providing or preventing this from being 3 years down the road coming and chopping off 4 of the lots and building on the house.
Portable, it'll record this restriction, and run with the land, and if it's to ever be lifted, you have to come back to 5. Typically, that, but it's either anybody, be on the balance of the property. That's affected by it. That's really what it covers it.
So we don't need to include anything like that in the motion?
Yes, that's correct. Addition, form and content, be provided, portion.
we are board members short tonight, so we will need, we got 4 votes to head.
So we have 4.
Well, I'm sorry, well, yeah, we have 4, we don't have 5.
Hey, Jeff, can you repeat what you just said? I'm having a hard time hearing you and Mr. Austin as well.
I just reminded these gentlemen that we are board members short tonight. With you being in attendance, we have 4 sitting members here, so they would need three votes out of 4.
All right, thank you.
Any other board comments?
Rundown from you guys is that nothing really changed with the plans, right? It was just basically the development commitment is what we received.
That and the commitment to 1 lot.
And then changing it from a 1 lot, from the multiple lots that they have, with the commitment to make this a 1 lot, that's a subdivision, but development,
Right.
Only single structure.
and 1 single structure.
Okay. Thank you.
Front yard setbacks, 20 feet or
26.
24. Front yard.
26.
26.
26 front, 24 rear for the house, 12-foot rear for the deck.
I would like to add, this is going to be about a $500,000 development for your city, which I think would be a good instrument for you guys.
We're still a town, but thank you.
Town, sorry. You guys are doing great like a city.
We have no further comments.
I'm good.
Anything?
I have no other questions.
We need a motion.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion regarding this developmental variance to allow the petitioner to build a new home with a front yard setback of 26 feet, a rear yard setback of 24 feet, and a 12-foot deck included in that dimension, and a written commitment to run with the land that these lots, or this lot, has 1 single structure on it. Conforming content acceptable to the town.
I want to, you misspoke how you said the 24-foot included, the 12-foot, there would be a 12-foot rear yard setback for the deck. You said 12-foot deck included in that number, so.
Okay,
This
24-foot rear yard from the house. 12-foot deck would be in that 24 feet.
There'd be a 12-foot
12
setback
foot.
for the deck.
Yeah, correct.
So just for.
12-foot setback for the deck.
Thank you.
You have all that?
Fine.
With the findings of fact.
I'll second it.
There's on the floor to grant the developmental variance, 26 foot front yard setback, 24 foot rear yard setback for the house, with a 12-foot setback for the deck. 1 single structure with a commitment from the developer to the town in the form, or there will be 1 building allowed on this parcel.
Approved by the,
Four-man content, including the findings of fact.
Does it also need to include recorded or no? Or is that content?
Roll call?
Nick Rakupido,
Yes.
Gary Wolfing,
Yes.
John Kapoor,
Yes.
Jeff Bungie,
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Item number 2 under old business, Roman Mano. '77-04, 134 Court, Cedar Lake. This developmental variance is to allow petitioner build a new 2.5-story single-family home on an existing foundation with a height of 32 feet and a side in the east side yard setback of 1 foot, a west side setback of 6 foot 10 inches, and a front yard setback of 14 feet. Lot coverage of 940 square feet, a lot size of 2,625 square feet, and frontage is 35 feet along Harmony Road. Mr. Austin, this is a referral or legal order. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's my wife Diana.
Hi, Diana.
Hello, everybody.
Well, we saw some of the preliminary plans last month.
And I have new ones. We did some minor modifications that I think will help us on some of the issues that we have. So don't mind me just passing them around.
We do not.
On there, we changed the height from the 32 to the 30 that's required, and we also included a garage.
So in order for us to include the garage, what we did is we actually had a deck that was going to go out to the back and partially would wrap around the side. So we've changed that into more of a Juliet balcony towards the back, which will then allow us to put in a 2-car garage in the basement area. It would just require opening up a garage door through the back of the house. There's enough. Once we shorten the deck to the side, we no longer need the west yard setback to be modified. And there's enough space with some minor adjustments that we would be able to drive a car through the side, because I believe that on the site plan we have over 11, about 12 feet, so that a car should easily pass in through there to go into the garage in the back.
Garage from down the hill on the back side, north side of the property.
It'd be the right.
No.
We would be going in through the west side of the property. There's more than enough space there.
Garage door is on, says the north elevation.
So we would actually go around the west, and then it'll pull into the garage, which the garage would be in the west elevation. New York. No, actually, it would be in the north elevation.
North elevation, that's correct.
So you're gonna put a driveway all the way from the street all the way to the rear?
That's correct.
What's the elevation change in that, the length of the property?
Well, right now, the way it is, there's only one area. There's one area. If you look at the east elevation, there's the reason a car cannot get through right now because it's already on a downhill ramp so that you could walk down. But there's one area that has, like, I think it must have been some kind of planter or something that's there. It's like a piece of wood, probably about 2 feet. So if that piece of wood gets removed and it just gets the minor gradient, there's enough space to make the turn easily. And you could see that because it was drawn in the east elevation, that like little, there's like a little wooden, I don't know if they used it as a planter or what they were using it as prior to.
Can someone please clarify me what these new plans entail?
send you a picture.
Okay, I appreciate it.
The overall height that you propose from the street level is still only 30 feet.
It'll be 30
It'll
feet.
be 30 feet, yeah. It was just minor adjustments. We were at 32, so it was just shortening.
The pitch of the roof and then,
Shorten the first floor a bit and the pitch of the roof, and we were good.
What's the square feet of your first floor foundation now?
The square feet would then be 22.
I can do it.
I'll tell you right now. We don't include did we include the porch on the square feet or just the
No.
first floor?
Not the garage.
Oh, just the first floor.
22.
The foundation floor.
Oh, the actual foundation? Or
Okay, so that would
the,
be
because it would go out,
this
about
one.
4.5 feet. So what we're looking at is keeping the same foundation footprint and then just extending the house out 4.5 inches, 4.5
Feet.
feet roughly.
On a two-story home, you have to have 800 square feet of finished foundation on the ground
Also
floor.
gonna do the
Right
foundation.
now we're 700 square. Well, actually,
It's
tried to
actually,
press it.
no, you gotta do it this way. It's gotta
So
be,
your foundation is 20 foot and then your house would be 24.6, you're saying?
what is this?
no, it's 32.5. The foundation, you need the foundation.
736.
Hold on. It should be 32.5 times 22.
So they're adding to the existing foundation.
2 is going to be 725.
What was the, what, I don't know if you guys covered this already, but what was the rear yard property or this proposal?
I didn't hear what he said.
The rear yard setback, Nick,
Yes, Michelle, please.
is it 100 foot lot?
Or 75.
Minus 14.
22, it looks like. No, no,
Minus
it's going the wrong way, never mind.
32.2.
Gotta be what, 26?
0.5.
So 22 feet roughly?
Minus 4.5.
Looks like 14.
24 is what I believe we have.
Okay. So I got the picture from Jerry, the new plans. So that garage door will be on the Is that correct?
We missed you at the garage door. Will be on the.
Yeah.
What do you say after that?
It's the north side, Michelle?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't want to speak for the petitioners, but what's your plan to access that garage with a vehicle?
Through the side, through the west side.
Do you have some kind of four-wheel drive vehicle or something? Because that hill drops straight down.
We do. We have all those
I mean,
vehicles.
like a a Jeep Wrangler or something to get down there. I don't see how that's going to work. How do you intend to make that U-turn into your garage or back into your garage?
It doesn't drop. It drops. The real drop comes in about maybe 12 feet from the rear setback where the real drop comes in. Through that area, actually, where the turn would take place, there's actually a concrete pad that currently exists. So it's pretty flat there. Because there used to be, from what we can see, there used to be a deck that no longer exists where there was a flat area and that deck was the rear exit to the home.
Okay.
So it's a flat that is, so it's already graded so that you could, I could walk it with the exception of whatever that planter was to the side, but I could pretty much walk it with no problem going down.
So do you have an exact measurement for what the elevation change is? Say the southwest corner of your house down to garage level?
No, I don't have an exact elevation.
Okay.
Do you know what the?
Tim, what's your opinion on this? It's kind of unique.
I don't know.
Who was the question for, Nick?
It's for Tim. I was just wondering what his opinion was on this new change to it. It's kind of unique to me.
Well, to be honest with you, we actually were driving around.
Yeah, I was asking Mr. Kubiak. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's definitely got its challenges. And without actually knowing the grades there to drive down the hill and get into the garage is, I mean, it's a possibility for sure, but with what we have provided to us right now, it's hard to say. There's approximately 23 feet to the garage door from the back lot line, so, and 12 feet to drive down the hill, so.
Okay.
Is it possible? Yes. Is it a lot of room? No. I don't know if there would have to be some kind of retaining wall built on the west side of the property along the property line to create that driveway without encroaching on the neighboring property. It's, you know what I mean? There's a lot of factors there to figure out.
Well, so as you guys know, based off the previous meeting we had, I have some serious concerns with it. But with so many changes that are being done here to the foundation, I'm starting to think, are we even using an existing foundation anymore? And if so, why don't we consider getting this thing off of 1 foot off the property line, which I think would be a big plus. I mean, you guys are considering some serious changes here with the foundation, are you not?
I didn't understand what you said.
What do you mean by the 1 foot offset?
You guys have a 1 foot setback on the east side of the house, correct?
That's correct.
That is correct.
So with all the changes that are being made to the existing foundation or removal, addition, what have you, maybe we should, if we're even going to consider this, we ought to consider, getting this house off of almost virtually on the property line. It's only 1 foot off the property line right now.
That's doable.
So how can you do that and still keep maintaining the 12 foot along the west side of the property?
Just trying to move it over this way. Because I had my landscaper go out there, and in terms of grading the side of the west elevation of the property, they see no issue with that in terms of grading it and being able to make that turn to get into the garage.
Okay, I'm going to hit you guys with a couple other questions. The last meeting, it was mentioned there was a well on a wellhead on the south of the house. There's a wellhead there, correct?
There is, yes.
Okay, is that in the area where you intended to park a vehicle?
No.
Now I have a question for Tim. Can we connect to the city water?
No.
No, there's no city water.
There's okay.
The wellhead is on the
East.
southeast corner of the house.
And it's closer to the property line on the east side of the house.
Yeah, it's probably off maybe about 2 feet, 3
So
feet.
that should not affect the driveway or the west side of the house.
To the west.
Okay, thank you.
Well, as far as you know, is it in good working order?
We haven't turned the plumbing on, so we wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't, you'd never get a well right back there.
They still got room in front. But I guess the concern that I have is that with this small of a lot and with as much as you're proposing going on, the site plan that you have is fairly generic to show elevation, garage entrance, driveway. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I can sort of visualize it and I look at this stuff every day, but for these guys to have something that's gonna function, showing, you show a concrete pad in the front yard, you show a hill, and you know what I mean? It's very hard to show something functioning with what you presented here because the rest of that driveway and the grades are not on the paper, so there's not I know that the last time the neighbors were here about parking in front of the building, whatever, and again, I know you have 35 feet by 14 feet, but you could show, on the site plan, you can show those 2 parking spaces or show the driveway where you actually have what you're, showing these guys actually what you're going to have, because I feel that, you're putting a lot of stuff on this lot, and I think if you can show that there is place to pull down the hill and get your vehicles, if you have 2 people over, you're not blocking traffic on the road. And
We only drive one car, so parking wouldn't be an issue.
No,
all
and
right, but I mean, we gotta look at it forever. Right?
Yeah.
It could be somebody gets it after you and has 10 people over every weekend. You know what I mean? But again, you can only prepare for, having a couple things. If it's showing those 2 vehicle spots on this plan rather than what you've had presented, I think it would be a lot easier for these guys
to visualize the vehicle spots where
see
they
it.
would go.
to.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean, we could,
We're talking about the hill, we're talking about the grade, there's a lot of question there,
yeah.
like Jerry said, or something Vic said, you need a 4-wheel drive Jeep to make it down that hill or
No.
not.
On the original survey that we attached with the original packet, it actually shows the existing concrete pad that's on there.
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah, it should be on the original packet. I might have extra
But
copies.
the bad thing is there's no elevations or no, there's a path.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really tell us, it doesn't show what you're presenting doing at all.
And that's fine. I mean, we could go back and modify with,
Are you using any part of the foundation? Or is the whole house, everything gonna be demoed?
well, what we wanted to use was we wanted to demo the whole house and use the existing footprint. So once the house is demoed, then at that point, we can reinforce all of the foundation as need be.
I mean, we could either use some of that existing foundation or just pour a whole new foundation. You let us know what you will approve and we'll get it done.
Mhm.
That's not the issue.
We're open.
Well, I'm getting to the point that Nick brought up, is that you're 1 foot off the property line. If you're gonna pour a whole new foundation, can we get more space between your house and the property line?
How much space are we talking about?
23.
Well, normal is 8 foot.
They're not asking.
Mhm.
You're not gonna get 8 foot, and
No,
still
we're
get
not
your
gonna
car
get 8
back.
feet.
We're not gonna-
We actually have spoken to our neighbor to the east, and our neighbor to the east says that he's basically tired of looking at our ugly house. And that they are gonna, they want us to build to fix what's there right now. And next to where what butts up to ours is 4 parking spots that he has. So it's an entire lot of parking spots to the east and before you get to his house, and then he has his house there and a 2-car garage. And then to the west of us, there's our neighbors. There's 3 empty lots on 134th Court. And then as you make the turn onto Dewey, I believe there's 2 other ones as you make the turn in. So we have 5 empty lots to the west, and then just parking to the east.
You say we have, you mean somebody else has?
No, yeah, like,
Okay.
The
as in
subdivision.
our neighbors, as in our subdivision, as in our block, is what I mean. Like, we don't own them, but as in,
Well, the thing you have to remember is that these neighbors may not always be your neighbors. These neighbors may be your neighbors, but they may not keep all that property and sell it. So you can't say this is what is, and based on that, we have to look down the road as to what could happen down the road. I'm still concerned about parking. If you have 2 guests over, where are they parking? Your driveway? Then you can't get out. My concern is 1 foot off the property. I mean, you got a 5-pound bag and you're trying to put 10 pounds in it. Makes it kind of tough. It just needs some work. And we don't have we have kind of a site plan, but we don't. It doesn't show the driveway per se. I mean, doesn't show any parking in front, if that's what it would be. You know, it needs a little bit of work for me to go any further.
I've been to the property. I've been to the property early in the morning,
Oh, okay.
been to the property late on a Friday evening. I know why you want to do what you want to do, but an engineer needs to look at this, and you gotta get some better plans together, because if I had to make a decision right now, what's here, there's not enough good facts. I mean, just knowing the elevation from the front to the back, it's gotta be 10 feet, might be more than that. I don't know who hasn't looked at it. I think we've all looked at it. Those are my immediate thoughts. It's tight up there. It's always tight, and you are trying to do a lot with a little.
Now, a question for you: what would work for you? I mean, would you rather us have a driveway to go around the back? It's about 7 feet. It's probably about 7 feet. Or would you want a parking space in the front, like 2 parking spaces in the front? What would you approve?
We'd have to see it on black and white. We can answer that question. We're not here to design
No.
it for you.
Yeah.
We're here to either approve it or disapprove it. So you have to make that decision with whoever your powers to be are, engineer, your wife, whoever, architects, and then come back and give us something in black and white that shows us something a little better, shows where the driveway is going to be, where the parking is going to be. You know, if you can get the house moved off the property line, because I definitely don't like 1 foot off the property line, and we have a chance to correct that now.
Right.
So how do we do it? Do you move the house backwards some? You know, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. That's something you have to look at and decide, because I can't tell you.
I feel that you're going to be able to meet with the square footage for the most part. And where the house is going to be, that's kind of up in the air about where the garage is going to be. So, you know, when you have a driveway going down like that off the road, what happens when you get 2 or 3 inches of rain? You know, is it in the neighbor's swimming pool down at the bottom? Like a water slide. I mean, all these things, all these details have to be taken into consideration. I agree with Tim. This is good to look at, but it's too generic for the details.
Yeah, we'll get you more details. Sure. Can we continue to the next month, and I'll show up with another option?
Would you be willing to meet with these folks? Come up with some-
Just depends on how much you're gonna change, I guess.
Yeah, I thought that was what we were gonna do last time, was kind of, get together.
You've had no correspondence with them since tonight?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Would Tim be able to meet us at the property? Maybe we can, so that way we can
I
come
mean,
here
we
with
can meet
something
you-
more.
We can meet you here or whatever, try to help you come up with something, you know what I mean, to figure out something, but, the bad thing with continuing to continue is, once you completely change the plan, all of your requests that you need are gonna change, you know what I mean? So you can't, you know, if you move something over 6 inches, you've advertised for that, but if you start, you know what I mean, it's.
Doesn't resemble the application.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you keep, you know what I mean? So that would be my concern, is I think that what these guys are looking for, and I think that now knowing that you guys kind of want to take that existing thing, I think they're trying, you know, which makes perfect sense. At this point in time, it's best to get, you know, the best size, you know, building on that 35-foot lot. There's a couple more 35-foot lots adjacent, you know, to you that have potential to be future something, you know. So I mean, this is something that once this board agrees to or approves something on there, then the potential of 2 more right next door to you is there. So that has to be taken into consideration, for size and function on that hill.
So at this point, Mr. President, we either vote on what's presented here, if there's a motion,
We need to go down
or,
the line. We need to go do the rest of the line.
Remonstrators?
hang on, Nick.
Okay.
So we either vote on what's presented, if somebody makes a motion, we vote on what's presented. If they ask for a deferral, they've changed too much coming back. So that's kind of not on the table. That was my next question.
Base foundation, they do that, public hearings included, they come back, you'll get a packet of the current materials, current studies, current surveys, current architectural, whatever it is. So that you start folks out here that can also looking at and being able to do. Yeah.
What were you saying,
We'll be
Michelle?
glad to meet with you and try to help you guys come up with. No problem.
Do you understand what's been kind of bandied about here? With all the things that it looks like you're going to be asked to make, okay, they will not fit into the variance request as envelope, okay, as presented. We're gonna change the south, you're gonna change the east side yard setback, and you're still gonna have to re-advertise that anyway. So your best is, I think, and I agree, the best opportunity at this time, I believe, is to just withdraw your request, come back with all your ammunition, come back with all your site plans, your elevation, and your plantings, and how you're planning on doing parking. And then back maybe in a month, and re-advertise and be back in time to be here next month.
The deadline's tomorrow.
So, probably do that.
I think they really did it. So that's just my.
I mean, at this point, I mean, we would like to defer it, except the fact that you said the deadline's tomorrow, and then at that point we'll, if you still think that's what we should do, then at that point we'll go ahead and withdraw.
If you defer it at your choice, probably need to see some pretty. Everybody asked here.
Sure.
We need to see some pretty.
But the
And that's the plan.
significant changes won't justify the original request.
That's right.
They won't reflect the original request.
Could I suggest something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe contacting a surveyor and getting the new house drawn on an actual survey so that you can see where your setback, what your elevation is, what it is that you guys want to do, to see if that even goes together.
Sure, we can do that. Sounds like a good idea.
Great thing about numbers is they're not really interpreted.
If you guys are gonna take the foundation down, this is leaving the existing foundation. So that variance is stated in here. I believe that it says to leave the existing foundation. So, I mean, kind of think about,
I would like to leave the existing foundation or part of it, or at least the same footprint. That's what I would like to do, so that we would be able to have enough space on the west side.
But I have to intervene here. How do we know that that foundation that was built decades ago and the footing underneath it is sufficient to hold in a 2.5-story house, Tim?
That will have to be shown by an engineer, so that's above me. You would have to provide documentation to show that it is good, if it came to that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something that I'd like to see in writing. And then, like I said, if they end up saying, okay, we're going to put a brand new foundation underneath it, then they're not restricted to that footprint anymore or that location. At that point, then we start talking about moving that thing off the property line. So that's my opinion, at least on the foundation.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of where's the building department? Talk about the town. Basic. And take a vote now, I'm not sure how they meet any one of the three requirements, 91.5, but get the next meeting, referral back, yeah.
There's one thing to add. If these guys vote to deny your request, that means you're done for a year. So that's why the recommendation to withdraw and do this, that way you can continue, keep the ball rolling. But once they vote and deny you,
That's fine.
then that's why he's making that recommendation, or else your time frame now, I mean, you can continue moving forward instead of hitting a brick wall. So that's why that recommendation is made, just so you're clear.
And my recommendation, getting it really surveyed and have somebody go out and market and stuff so that you don't get this all done and start your plans and then it's completely wrong from what this variance was, and then you have to start over. So I just wanted you guys to have a clear picture all the way through from beginning to end.
Sure. Yeah, we'll withdraw at this point.
Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion from the board to acknowledge that these folks have withdrawn their developmental request.
I'll make that motion.
Seconded.
Is this for a withdrawal?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Motion made by John, seconded by Jerry.
Yes.
Roll call.
Nick Recupero,
Yes?
Jerry Wilking,
Yes.
John Kapura,
Yes.
Jeff Bungie.
Yes. Passes 4-0.
Alrighty, thank you. Sure.
Ethan?
They have to start over. They're starting over.
Thank you.
Yep, have a good night.
Okay, moving ahead, under new business, item number 1. Owner Brian Kubel, 13305 Morris Street, Cedar Lake, petitioner Eric Moore, 10845 Forestville, St. John, and the city 13135 Morris Street, Cedar Lake. This special use variance is to allow the petitioner to operate a woodworking / assembly shop, a B3 use in a B2 zoning district. Mr. Austin?
Hello, I'm Eric Moore. I just brought an example of basically what we'll be doing within the shop. There's multiple sizes of it, but it's a trapdoor unit, free hanging. It's designed for security purposes of private, firearms, jewelry, etc. It's actually contract work that we do that's going to be supplied across the nation. So we'll be looking to make anywhere from 500 to 1,000 of those a week within that structure. And currently we have a 2-year lease with Brian with a 3rd-year option. So that's the basics of what I have for you.
And this is the laundromat building /
Yeah, the old
building.
food pantry, yes, sir.
And you have room there for manufacturing facility to make?
Yeah, so the tops and the bottoms, they come to me from CNC, it's outsourced. So we're not doing any milling or anything with inside the structure. All of the trim and everything does come in linear footage, so that's all cut down to size for the projects. So it's 2,200 square foot in there, and right now we only need about half of it for the production that we're doing, so we still have room to grow within the building.
Hours of operation?
Right now we're 7 to 3:30, but we'll basically be between the 6 and the 4:30 range, Monday through Friday. We won't work weekends unless necessary to fulfill an order.
How many employees?
Probably in the 6 to 10 range would be max where we would be at. 6 is probably where we'll be for quite a while.
Does that include you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, including,
6 includes you.
yes. I don't see us exceeding 10 for what we would need to do as far as production-wise goes.
Do you have customers come to the shop?
No, we're not open to the public.
We were trying to, I think one of the last we ever had was to, where you can fix that parking lot. That's a little bit of this stuff.
I briefly discussed it with him about this.
So you would proceed with that.
He was waiting to see what came of the meeting. I told him that was a very good possibility that he brought up.
Right, you have anything else to present at this time?
No.
You might have anything to discuss.
Yes, sir.
Second, while we ask for administrators. Do we have any administrators for this variance? Any administrators for this variance? Any administrators against? Anyone online? Any correspondence?
Nothing.
Anyone? Anybody? Opposed to the portion of sharing? Come back up, please. Building permit?
I mean, the extent of his woodworking in the building is very minimal. I mean, it's inside the building. There's no vacuum system. He's not ripping major sheets of plywood, or he's got a little piece of trim and basically assembly. I guess that same question came into my mind, the front parking area, at least for some employees and some, I don't know what the plan is for the very front of the building where they put the insulation and stuff in the windows just to make it look like it's inhabited instead of temporary repair. I mean, I can appreciate somebody getting something going in there, but I'd like to get these, I don't know what that stuff is inside. I know they put that temporary stuff in the windows for the food pantry or something, but just so it didn't look like such an eyesore every time you drive by, you just see the insulation.
Do you have access for the sawdust created?
Yeah, it's all internal though. Nothing will be outside of the building. All the vacs are internal filtered. So
Nothing on the road?
no.
Or glue, varnish, stuff like that?
We do no finishing. It's all shipped out as a raw product, and it's finished outsourced.
What are your hours of operation again, Mr. Moore?
Right now we're 7 to 3:30. We would be open no earlier than 6 a.m. to say 4:30, 5 o'clock ish, depending if we need to adjust hours to fill orders.
Okay. Where are you operating out of now, if I can ask?
We're not.
Oh, you're not? Okay. This is a new business, or is this something you're expanding on?
This is a new business.
Okay. And you intend to use the entire building?
Yes.
Okay.
We won't be outsourcing any leases or anything like that to anybody else.
Okay.
What size truck does your product arrive in?
All of the 3/4 maple ply comes in on a pallet form, so it's no larger than a pallet, and then everything else gets delivered on a flatbed truck for the 10-foot linear sticks of the crown or the nose. So everything that would be shipped could come down through the town. It's
No semi.
No.
How much equipment is actually going to be in the building? I mean, you got some air compressors, right?
Yeah, it's pretty minimal. So compressors, miter saws, routers, orbital sanders, you know, it's pretty minimal as far as it
And
goes.
this is residential property on the back and the east side?
Correct.
The
So
backside is,
residential property?
yes. But there'll be no like filtration outside of the building. So we
I'm
won't,
concerned about the noise. Because noise starts at 7, the residential property. The lights on the lights on the parking lot's not in compliance, the lights on the outside of the building aren't in compliance. And neighbors shouldn't be listening to routers and humming of equipment at 6 o'clock in the morning. Those are my feelings.
I understand. It's no problem for us to only start at 7. I just threw 6 out there just to be open, you know, transparent to what we may or may not do.
I got you.
It is an all brick building, which I do understand what you're saying though, but it does stay pretty well maintained inside as long as we keep the door shut.
Well, washers and dryers don't make the same amount of noise that
No, I
they're
understand.
make.
I understand. I have no problem setting the hours at 7 a.m. if that's what you would request of us.
Is that Monday through Friday?
Yes.
Okay.
There is an occasional Saturday though. Like again, if we needed to fill an order for whatever reason, materials were delayed or the order, it got extended to a larger amount. I mean, Saturdays are an option. We don't see us working Sundays.
And starting time on occasional Saturday, came to that.
It'd be the same, 7 a.m. Now, if I needed to abide by another time frame, obviously I would have no problem doing that. That's just the typical start time.
Any other issues?
No, I mean, I guess, I mean, I feel that I looked around, we took a couple of pictures today up there, and the houses up there are across the street, the neighboring house to the, so that was my concern, what Jerry brought up too, is you're in a neighborhood there, you got houses, but there's not really anything super close, I mean, and it is that whole brick building. I mean, I guess my feeling is the amount of, what he's doing in there, I mean, a miter saw and not anything that's crazily. I mean, he's cutting, you know, you look at what he's cutting there, a small piece of crown molding and a piece of, not, you know, sitting there constant, so. And not running the table saw and ripping sheets of plywood, you know, I mean, for what he's planning on doing, and that's what he said, that's what he's making, so it's not like you're gonna start making other stuff.
No, the variance will be sizes, smaller to larger, but that's the product.
That thing hangs on the wall like a shelf and then it opens?
Yeah, it's a free hanging shelf, and then basically some of them probably have seen them online or whatnot, but there's a way electronically it opens, or it opens by like a magnetic device, and the trap door actually drops down. And most people hide their firearms in them, but others use them for jewelry, money, things like that. But they just hang on the wall.
I want to see one open.
If you go online and
Out of
look at tacticaltrap.com, you can see it on there.
That's what it is? Okay.
It's a trap door mechanism.
Nick, do you have any questions or concerns?
No, sir.
No. So,
I guess a motion would have to be contingent on improvements of the property, or when are we gonna discuss that?
Brian had mentioned to me that the parking lot had been brought up about wanting it to be paved. Said it really didn't have much to do with me. He had concerns as far as the buses turning around in there and repaving it. So he said if that came up, that would be something that he would address with you guys. He was going to try to make it tonight, but I guess he couldn't. So that's all I really know.
Michelle, can you GIS that property? Thank you.
I mean, that's been just a problem area for years just because of the gravel washing down the hill. It's one of those places there.
And you're right, it's not your problem. However, here we are.
I understand.
That's all gravel parking lot?
Right now, it's gravel all the way up on the hill.
So when Rosati's used it, it was a gravel parking lot
Yes, sir.
when they were supposed to use it, I should say.
I was just say they didn't use it, John.
I said supposed to.
Okay, yeah, I know, I heard you.
It's a large area.
So there's boat storage on this property too?
That boat is actually, that front lot, they own that. Somebody else owns that house right there, and I'm told that that portion where the boat is and out to the street is not part of the property. There's mailboxes right there in the front left side. We see the grass area. He told me the property ends right there and it comes back to that grass on the right. And then that front portion of the lot is the homeowner's property, which is also part of their family. So that's why I probably,
His brother.
I think that's where he's from.
yeah.
I just wanted to see how much needed to be blacktop.
Well, I
Right
brought
now.
up, I feel that they should provide 10 parking spaces and turn the rest of that into some grass or something, so it's not gravel running down the hill. I mean, the rest of that, the next side over there, all that is all, I mean, pretty well fixed up and there's a lot of area there.
Next to the.
I mean, across the street, all that's all repaired.
The shopping center building, behind the dollar store.
So you're saying that's this gentleman's problem to take care of? Or is it Brian's?
Well, that would be Ryan's, I would surely imagine. Right.
So that means,
It means they're linked.
pardon?
It means they're linked. Purpose and use.
So this is for approval to or disapproval to,
This is a recommendation.
to the town council. So do we have to, if we make the recommendation for, do we have to include something to do with the parking lot?
That is a condition. Certified recommendation. Based on or not.
All right, you got to remind us later, so let's go through it.
Yes, sir.
Well, then it would be it certainly would be within our call to put restrictions on it. If we feel that there's a need for, 10 or 12 paved parking spaces. We want to make that a condition of the recommendation. I mean, to me, it seems like a pretty low impact use for the.
Yeah, I just want to get to,
For the neighborhood.
get the motion right, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you got remonstrators in that, or you,
We've already done that. We're ready for any recommendations.
well, I'll make a motion that we send a favorable recommendation to the town council for this petitioner's request contingent upon paved parking spot place with 10 places in it. The unpaved areas to be put into some sort of green space. With the hours being from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and same hours occasionally on a Saturday.
About the insulation in the front window.
What? Who put it there? He did, or?
Oh, it's just from the food pantry, but you see what it looks like from the road. It's pretty, it's bothered me since the day it's been put up there, so I'm not a very good person.
And the insulation in the front window to be removed and
The outdoor lighting to be in compliance.
It runs on a cell, so I'm assuming we can change the timing on that. It's been there since I've been there, so it is pretty bright. I see what you're saying.
Needs to be shined down.
and and to improve the outside lighting to meet town ordinances.
I'll second it.
You could just spray paint.
Including
the windows
fighting the
black or
fact.
something inside, you know what I mean? And put that back up and lock, so.
I understand. He and I have actually talked about the window, so it's something that's kind of been
Yeah.
discussed.
Yep.
I just don't want to speak too much for him, but I'll go
No, I
ahead.
got it.
You get everything, Nick?
No, sir, I think it looks good.
But you did hear all the conditions and you approve, or you're familiar with them? To go ahead for a vote for a vote?
Yes.
Okay. Questions or comments? Roll call?
Nick Recupero,
Yes?
Jerry Wolfling,
Yes.
John Capora,
Yes.
Jeff Bungie.
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. The next meeting will be board meeting.
Tuesday. Tuesday.
Upcoming Tuesday.
Okay.
The 18th, 7 p.m.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Have Brian call me and I'll talk to him about
Will do.
like his part, or, you know, his part, okay?
Item number 2, here's it. Here's it.
Yes.
Owner Cedar Lake, 132nd and Morris LLC, petitioner Joshua Gerzik, 9 Vienna Drive, Baltimore, Illinois, in the vicinity of 13205 Morris Street, Cedar Lake. This use variance is to allow the park and sell food out of a food truck with parking for customers on site and overflow into the adjacent lot with tables and benches for outdoor dining. Do we have a petitioner?
Steve Newman,
Joe?
he's driving the food truck. Good thing you guys only spent like 5 minutes working on it.
Do we have a petitioner online?
Nothing.
Do you have anybody online besides Nick and Bob?
Nope.
Yeah, I suggest that you stay in proceedings here on this matter. Agenda. Think you have a problem with this on the end of the agenda for now?
Jeff, I had a hard time hearing you there. I'm sorry.
Since there's no petitioner present or online, we'd like to move this to the end of the meeting.
That's fine.
Yes.
Can I say something about this? I don't have to wait till we're not here.
Sure.
All right, so I'm okay with food truck.
State your name and address for the.
Podium.
People Village, 13232 Lakeshore Drive. I'm okay with food trucks. In fact, I just ate one the other day. Now, the one I did eat at, what that would have to be zone, it's B1, right? That area?
No.
It's B2?
B2.
Okay, it's B2. So as far as ordinances go, what is the ordinance for B2 as far as parking goes? There's got to be
Based off
something.
the size of the building and what's going in the building.
No gravel. So that would have to be paid.
He's asking for a gravel, that's why he's coming.
Okay, all right. Okay, which is great. I guess that's the point I want to bring up because I pulled up at one of those gravel and had this old rickety thing there, and I did order food from there. I'm not real picky about what I gotta eat, but it should look nice because, once you do this, how many times we look at fast and say, you know what, this should have done, this should have done. This is our real first food truck in this town, am I right?
40 years.
Yeah, we should probably write some rules about it. There should be an ordinance about
They're working on it.
Okay, that's all I want to say. Is so 40 years from now, we're gonna come back saying, we should have done this. So whatever you guys decide to do with this food truck, everybody else can do too.
It's being worked on as we speak, so.
Fantastic. That's it.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Yeah.
Right, there's several of us, I think that were here to discuss this when he made his presentation. You want to hear us now?
Well, it would be nice to have representation if he's going to be here. I mean, we can bring it up. I mean,
Say what you gotta say if you guys wanna leave. I don't blame you not wanting to stay here till 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
and he may not be here anyway, so, yeah, go ahead. Dan.
Come on up.
It's almost 8:30, so I can't imagine. It was,
I don't know. Did you ever have it?
I actually tried to get into one of your meetings one night, and I couldn't do it either. I was successful next time, but I'm Diane Justice. I'll give the chamber address 7925 Lakeshore Drive. I'm not representing the entire chamber, but I was asked by a couple of the restaurants to come and speak after his presentation or their presentation. Some have expressed concerns about the food trucks versus our brick and mortar buildings. And I know some of those things are not for you. You are to decide about this particular property. So one of the things they were concerned about was parking. Is it going to be paved? Because our restaurants would have to have paved parking. The other thing was about lighting. I noticed that when he sits at the end of Osborne Street, where I live, it's very dark. And those people are there at night at the food truck, and it's dark all around there. So that is a consideration. Also, I think dressing up, what Mr. Blagojevich said too, we don't want to just stick to or a trailer or two there, and it's not going to be tidy. You'd want it to what you expect of your own restaurants here. You'd want to expect, I think, of somebody else too, because these particular people who own restaurants are paying taxes. This man is not going to be paying what they're paying, so their expenses are certainly a serious consideration versus a food truck. One of the other things that they talked about was somebody coming in from out of town and just making sure that he had to meet all the requirements that our own local people have with restaurants. I know they mentioned a lot of things about their costs and their overhead and the fact that they employ local people, but that is not your consideration. One of the other things they did mention was the security, because they're on a busy street right there. Are they going to be required to have some kind of a metal post to serve as a protection? So those are just a few, and I guess also they were concerned about hand sanitizing, things like that. So as I said, I'm not representing the whole chamber, but these were a couple questions that actually would be in your lap. So that's why I am here tonight.
Actually, Diane, they were at the plan commission, and probably 90% of what you said was discussed.
It was.
Brought up to them about parking, lighting, Jerry, and the lights don't get past him. Okay, and seating and all of the concerns you had, we brought up to them. And that's why I'm kind of surprised that you're not here tonight. But we're well aware of that. And like Tim said, we're working on to update the ordinance to cover food trucks. And
but when you make this decision, if you approve this, would it be that he's going to be able to open up say if you approve it, would he open up immediately? Because nothing would be in place. There's no paving, there's no lighting.
I couldn't open up until he met the requirements that we would set forth.
Okay.
So, like paving, the parking, the paving, one commissioner had a concern about bathroom facilities.
Yes, that's
and,
another thing.
Same as me, plus water. Where do you get your potable water from and what have you? So, I mean, there were a lot of the things you brought up, we already discussed or mentioned to them. So we're well aware of what we feel they should have to do if we go that route.
All right.
We also, was brought to my attention prior to the work session starting, that all the documentation that they wanted to present was not available because of a car accident. So I'm disappointed that it's not here to look at now, because what we did get was, conceptual.
Mhm.
But like John said, all those details were all there, were all brought to their attention. The days of operation, the hours of operation, as on Osborne, it gets dark and it gets a little.
It does, because, unfortunately, my record of falling and breaking something hasn't been great in the last 2 years. So when I saw those people out there after dark, I thought, this is really dangerous, because it's only gravel over there. But as I say, these were some of the concerns they had that they thought would be in front of you. Some of the other concerns that some of our restaurant owners have that are here are probably a little deeper and go to the town council level, but I'll let them speak. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Diane.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Tom McAdams, 9601 West 134th Place. I own and operate Great Oaks Banquets, which has been here. I've been here 29 years. My feeling about these trucks is we are in a very unique time. Normally, it wouldn't matter. Anybody coming in, that's fine. Their main thing is to go to fests, the Summer Fest or the Crown Point Fest or wherever it may be. We're in business here. We're trying to maintain, and I'll give you some numbers. We're running at about 50% of our sales, which affects us tremendously. We've made all kinds of changes. It changes daily, and we've invested our money and our sweat and our tears to be in this town. So now you get some people that come in, their food may be spectacular. But the point is, I don't think they have to jump through the hoops that we do. I mean, one of the questions I had is, what about washrooms? I have to have handicap washrooms. Do these trucks have to have that? I don't see that.
That detail, of course, was also discussed with them.
Yeah. So this may be the wrong.
No,
Well-
it's not. It's not. I'm just saying that was also brought up
Right.
because they want to have outdoor seating, which invites all kinds of other regulations that they're going to have to follow. So and again, I don't want to speak as speculatory, but
Right.
I have nothing in front of me
Right.
to deal with.
Yeah.
I
I just think my feeling is this, that we all have to try and stick together. The people that have invested their money for the years, in my case, almost 29 years. I'm not a Johnny-come-lately, and I abide by the rules. We do inspections, fire inspections, all of the above. And that's just my point. I don't think they should be. They've got two of them over by a Holy Name Church. The town owns the property. Hearsay, they're paying $25 a day. What is that? They do work 2 days a week. My sewer and water bill is $261 a month. That's almost $10 a day. Whether I work or I don't work, it's $10 a day every day. And then I've got insurance. And then I've got rent. And then I've got telephone bills. And all of the above. And here these guys come in, you know, they're looking, I sympathize with them. They're looking to generate some dollars because they're not doing fests. But what about us guys that have been here in the town? So I think that's made my point. Okay.
Hi, my name is Tomas, and this is Mr. Jimmy Gorichanis, owner of the property of Herios. I just bought the business from him. And just like Mr. Tom said, we've been there for almost 36 years. You know, and it's just tough. Times are tough right now. You know, we're running in a very, 40, 50% of our business. And just like he said, you know, I wouldn't have no issues if this were normal times. I just bought the business from Mr. Jimmy, and I still have to pay for my occupancy permit. You know, it's just in the beginning, you got to spend for this, you got to spend for that. It's so tough, and especially with the circumstances right now. So, I mean, Mr. Tom said it all. You know, we're not here for a week, 2 weeks, 2 months. We're here for as long time permits us to be here. And I love working with the community, but times are very difficult right now. And for us, every little we can get, we're not a fast food restaurant. We're a family sitting place. And, you know, most families don't really have the time right now to go and sit. So I ask for you to consider all those food trucks that will come in and take some from us that might put us out of business. Because it is really difficult right now. You know, Mr. Tom said it all, and I don't really have much to say, but think about it. Thank you.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
I'm James Exrayanis from Herios, 13226 Wicker Avenue. And it's not fair the trucks to come sell food because all the restaurants are gonna suffer. And with the epidemic now and the business down and all that, we have so many people. I have 20 people and 10 full-time and 10 part-time. And we pay tax, property tax, everything else. I don't think the truck is gonna pay tax. And it's not fair for us. A lot of people, they're gonna lose the jobs, a lot of employees. Because probably they're gonna be able to have the price less than us because they don't have no NIPSCO, they don't have shoes, they don't have nothing. So they're gonna hurt us. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna lay some people down off and all that. That's not. I don't think it's a good idea for the trucks to go sell food. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, all right. We'll revisit this if we get a petitioner later in the evening. We'll move on. Item number 3, developmental variance. John and Rachel Mulholland, 8431 Raven Lake, Lane. Developmental variance. 4 foot, 7 foot from the property line to Morning Dove Drive. Mr. Rushing? Hi, good evening.
How are you doing, sir?
Can I do what you'd like to do?
It's just a 4-foot picket fence. I'm on a corner lot, so it's about like 32 feet from the side of my house to the sidewalk, and I want to go 24 feet out.
And, so this is in the back portion where the deck is?
Yes, sir. I go from the corner, the west corner.
It's a side lot.
Yes, sir.
Runs from Raven Way, heading like south on Morning Dove. Why do you want to put the fence there?
I got a dog. And just easier instead of walking them with a leash in the backyard, just let them roam. There's also like an added like 12 feet or so before you even get to the street. I don't really think it'd be an obstruction because where it's at is like 60 to 70 feet to the stop sign going north from Morning Dove.
It's gonna be a 50% open picket fence?
Yes, sir.
I thought the fence could only go to the back of the house in Haven.
Sorry, no?
I thought the fence could only go to the back of the house in Havenwood.
My HOA approved our plot of survey and everything. It's going, so my house faces north. It's the northwest corner. I go from the northwest corner straight out west to Morning Dove, 24 feet, and then go south. Another.
From the front of the house?
No, sir. From the rear of my house.
So going back from the rear of your house, it's only about 30 feet?
60, 50.
60 feet from the back of your house to?
No.
50.
It's not, house not that big.
The other front yard is showing 31.7 feet. On the
80
southwest.
feet off of the corner.
Yeah, this one's gonna be 80 feet off the
If you look
west.
at the picture, you can see how far the house is.
Yeah. And I'd go starting all the way in the back, just going west, and then just go straight back. I'm not coming any further north.
Right here, straight off this where the air conditioning is.
Yeah, where the air conditioning unit is, just come straight west. 24 feet. I'd be about approximately 8 feet from the sidewalk, and then I would just go straight south. I'd be approximately 3-4 feet off my property line in the south, and then just run it along the south and come back up north to the edge of my house, which is 10 feet.
You propose to run this to the utility easement, not to the back of your property? That's what it shows here, that's drawn in on your site plan.
Yes, sir. There's some trees that are like right on the property line between me and the neighbors to my south. So I would actually be north of those trees.
So it would be your responsibility to maintain that, landscape it.
Not a problem, sir.
Whatever you do now,
Yes, sir.
would it be on the outside of your fence?
It's not a problem, sir.
What are you suggesting, Jeff? I can't hear you.
Well, we were just asking where he was going to put the fence along the back
Okay.
south property line, and he proposed to fence up to the utility easement. And reminding him, even though there's trees, that it would be his responsibility to maintain it, but even if it would be on the outside of the fence. He agreed to that.
Okay. I thought we were kind of being consistent with wanting to put fences right on a property line, weren't we?
We haven't even gotten that far yet, I don't think.
Tim? Certainly.
We have been correct, yes, sir. In his case, there's a whole bunch of giant oak trees on the property line.
Okay.
Got a pretty unique circumstance there. If he went that 10 foot off the property line, there's there's a lot of big trees along that line. So
Okay.
it would be a good reason to put it there. I would much rather him see that than cut down 10 big giant trees.
Okay.
But if you come to 10 feet in, it's a clear shot there.
It wouldn't even be 10 feet.
Where you have to go 10 feet.
Oh, okay. All
You
right.
can't put it in the easement. It's not allowed to go.
One or the other.
You either got to go on the property line, or you can't go in the middle of that 10 feet. You know where it shows a 10-foot easement? You have to go on either side. You can't put anything in the middle of that easement at all.
You have a stake. That's a stake survey, so you.
Yes,
have
ma'am.
stakes. Yeah.
So I can go to, I'm not understanding. The easement's like a sidewalk, correct?
The easement is 10.
With sewer water, the drainage easement, the drainage aisle runs through there, and underground utilities could run through there.
Okay.
We overhead power line.
On your survey, the red line is your property line, and you wrote it on the dotted line.
Okay.
Is that what you intended to do?
I didn't bring it.
Here, it's right here.
It's right. Come on.
See that? There's your property line. Then there's a 10-foot easement, and there's where you drew it on the dotted line. But you can't put it. It has to go 10 feet. It can't go anywhere.
It can either go 10 or 1.
Well, then, yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of trees right there.
There's a whole bunch.
And that, the house to your east, do they have a fence?
No, sir.
No, they don't. So you could put that fence right on that property.
That was the plan, so.
Yeah, well, that's.
Well, it's kind of the same issue. It's so foresty right there in the back, sir.
I'm very familiar with that piece of property.
Oh, very well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the plan, to get it as close as. I'm gonna go behind the shed, and just go all the way.
no plans for an in-ground pool or anything else like that.
Ain't no room.
There's no room, sir.
Question.
Yeah.
We'll build that to sometime in the next pool.
No, it's strictly just for my dog, and I have a little 9-month-old boy, so when he starts to get running around in the backyard, I don't want him going towards the street.
I think to be consistent with what we've done in the past with our ordinances, he needs to be 20 feet off that sidewalk, not 7.
I agree, John. I think that keeping that roadway along the road, I know it stinks for your yard, but.
Yeah, he's got a tough situation because there are a lot of trees. He's got the shed back there and the deck. How big are your dogs?
Mastiff.
Pardon?
That's a mastiff. He's about 130 pounds.
But to be consistent, we had one a few months ago in Linsway where he wanted to put it on the sidewalk and we wouldn't allow it.
This is also a 4-foot, 50% open.
Right.
That's not what it says here, though. It doesn't say 50% open in this.
Picket.
Says picket fence.
Yeah.
Yeah. What, that fence will
So
not
if
come,
it-
this fence will not come into play to make a right-hand turn or to make a turn or right-hand turn at the stop sign, because the stop sign is up by the front of his house.
It's 80 feet.
So the fence will not come into play as far as view for driving.
If
You know.
if it didn't have sidewalks, it would be a 6-foot setback.
You could put it up.
Yeah, but it has sidewalks.
So the 20-foot.
And there's, as far as I know, there's no other place in that subdivision that has a fence right on the sidewalk or 7 feet off of it. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
no,
So for clarification, Tim, Michelle, 31 foot 7 71, it would become 20 if we were following the rules of thumb, right?
From the sidewalk, correct?
20 feet from the
20
sidewalk.
feet
20 feet from the
sidewalk.
sidewalk, so that puts him at about, 10
11
feet or so,
foot.
11 foot.
11 foot.
11 foot from the house, you have 10 foot on the other side of the house, rounding.
Correct.
Good, thank you.
Anything else to say or?
Well, I kind of wanted to enclose and capture those 2 trees. That's why I kind of wanted to go the extra. Originally, we were only going to go 12 feet, which would have, in essence, we still would have been 5 inches over the variance, but still but I wanted to capture those other 2 trees just to kind of make the backyard a little bit bigger with the shed being there and double deck being back there. As you know, you're kind of familiar. Just kind of crowded back there and kind of open up my backyard a little bit.
To not have to take those trees down.
Yeah, instead of just and I don't think it's going to be a hindrance to any vehicles going to the stop sign, because where the fence would stop, the most northern point of the fence is approximately 70 to 80 feet to the stop sign at the corner of Morning Dove and Ravenway.
It would not be a hindrance. I said that earlier. I know
okay.
it would not
All right.
be a hindrance.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know that. But the ordinance says 20 feet off the sidewalk, and I think we have to stick to that. The rest of it, I have no problem with. Those are my feelings.
Would you mind having a seat for just 1 second? Do we have any remonstrators for this variance? Anyone here for this variance? Anyone here personally here against this variance? Anyone here against? Do we have anybody online?
No, sir.
We do have a correspondence from Michelle McDonough. Good afternoon. I am writing in response to possible variance in subdivision unit 1, unit 3, lot 45. After careful consideration, I am remonstrating against the fence being moved from the typical 20 foot from the right of way. Fence, side yard enclosure that is both setback and less than 20 feet allowed from the sidewalk along Morning Dove Drive. And if it also extends to the southern property line would bisect the grouping of trees that are shared by both lots. This grouping includes mature oaks that predate the subdivision as well as arborvitae, which were planted on the property line privately. The fence constructed on the south property line less than 20 feet from the sidewalk would likely endanger aesthetic vegetation and require removal of the arborvitae. Thank you for your consideration, and this was sent today. That'll become part of the anyone with demonstrators that are online or here? Maybe not, we'll close the public portion of the hearing. Tim? Any other comments?
I have nothing, but I mean, I know there's been several people tried to put a fence here, and I kind of feel like John does, the 20 feet is the standard, and I know it's a 4-foot fence, and I agree with that, what everybody said, it's not in a place where it's the visual part of it. When you go over there, it's, there's a lot of trees, and there's a lot of privacy, and there's a lot of, it's not like you're driving down a wide open road and the fence is sticking out. It is a unique situation. So I give it that. But I don't really have anything. I mean, I know it's only a 4-foot tall fence too, so it's much different than a big tall fence sticking out there. I mean, a 4-foot fence is a big difference with the rocket view as much. So he does. I mean, it's a crazy spot, and he does lose the 10 feet of his backyard because of the trees and the easement too. So. Again, it's another one of them tough corner lot situations. It is.
Well, that letter, her concerns with the arborvitae, that being on the property line, he's not putting it on the property line.
Right.
So that wouldn't come into play for those trees or that the arborvitae there.
Correct.
And if we don't allow the 7 foot off the sidewalk, he doesn't need to be here. Correct?
Correct.
Because Haven would just request their approval for a permit from the town here. And the only reason he's here because he wants to have it 7 feet off the sidewalk. Correct?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions or comments, Nick?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any questions or comments?
No, I think I agree with what a few of you guys are saying. I think we got to kind of stay consistent here, and yeah, that's where I'm at. Basically, I could just say what John said over again, but I'll save the breath.
Are we allowed any variances then?
There's been some 20-foot, 6-foot fences granted, which the rule is 20 foot with a 4-foot fence. So there's been a few things. Setback would allow a 6-foot fence versus 4-foot.
But the footprint has pretty much remained the same through this board over time, correct? Do you recollect?
I don't know for actual information.
I'm just saying that it's,
I wouldn't be able to say. I know that there's been several 6-foot fences approved at 20 foot.
But it's 20 foot.
20 foot. Correct. Or a 4-foot fence. So being that he's asking for a 4-foot fence, but it's a little different.
And one thing that I see your guys really talk about all the time is trying to. I don't see any hardship there. Other than this particular one, to have another, 7 feet or, 13 feet or 13 feet yard. So that's that yard. Do you have any more board discussion?
No?
No, sir. Will be warranted.
I'll make a motion that we deny the petitioner's request per town ordinances. And here I see no hardship created or that this would create for him. With whatever finding of facts that may be found.
I'll second.
Yes. Yes, okay, thank you. Include that.
Motion is seconded to deny this developmental variance. Any questions on the motion? Roll call, no, sir.
Nick Recupero,
Yes.
Gary Wolfing,
Yes.
John Caparo,
Yes.
Jeff Bungie,
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. Developmental variance.
Take them.
Let me ask a question here. Was that supposed to be an approval or non-approval or
Motion is made.
approval? Yeah, okay. That's good, all right.
Item number 4, developmental variance for Mr. Kurt Vaughn in the city of 14627 Morris Street. This developmental variance is to allow the petitioner to build a 42 by 60 foot, 2,520 square foot metal wood frame garage with a sidewall height of 12 feet.
Did you need these?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Give an idea what you'd like to do.
What I'd like to do is put up a 42-foot wide, 60-foot deep pole building. It's going to be basically a 30 by 60 with the roof extended an extra 12 feet off to one side. The 30 by 60 section would be divided off. Part of a home gym would be put inside there. And then more just normal garage things. I put a lift on one side as part of the reason why I want 12-foot lift or 12-foot walls for the clearance. And then the 12-foot extension on the one side would just be gravel. That wasn't just a gravel floor, nothing extra, but just room to park trailers and mowers and yard equipment and stuff like that. Just keep it all inside so it's not out in the yard.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Can I talk?
Yeah, please, I'm sorry.
This gentleman also has a meets and bounds lot. He is and has been at the plan commission already and will be again on the next lot subdivision. This property is over 2 acres.
It's just over 1 acre.
It's only 1 acre?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 2 acres.
I'll take it if you want to give it to me.
It looks big. But he is also on the plan commission for a one lot subdivision. Make it up.
And then the shed that's there is gonna go away.
Yes, once this building's up, that shed will be gone, and I'll take out the foundation or the partial foundation that's underneath it as well.
Anything else for them?
All I could say is that even with the additional square footage of the building, I'm still not anywhere close to my lot coverage. So if that helps or matters.
So the only reason is the extra 2 foot of wall.
The square footage.
Oh, okay.
So that's 1,200, right?
Yeah, 1,600.
Yeah.
You think he's allowed 1,200? 1 acre?
It's just over 1 acre, so it goes into the 1,600, I believe.
Right. By like
17 square feet or something.
So it's 900 square feet over.
17.
That's correct.
Oh,
Yeah, you're correct.
If 17 is 25, so it's 800.
No, you were correct. For 16 going to 25, so 920.
That's what I thought, yeah, okay.
You're correct.
All these numbers.
Everything else you do at this time?
I do not.
Okay, super. Do we have any demonstrators for this variance? David, can I make a couple comments as a member, or should I? Do we have any demonstrators for this variance? Any demonstrators against? Any demonstrator against? Anyone online?
No.
Anyone outside?
No.
Anyone about to come in by third?
No.
Seeing none, we'll close the public portion of the hearing. Come back up. Thank you. Any questions?
No, actually, I'm for it. A little bit bigger than what we allow, but that area of town is kind of got that estate feel, a little bit of a country setting, and I think it would fit in there.
I was only doing a 30-foot structure, and then the rest of it is just kind of a lean-to. You don't plan to that, there'll be windows for my side of the house. So, I don't have any problem.
So we certainly been making some major improvements there.
Tremendous.
Tim, this says metal post frame garage. This is a pole building? Wooden post, metal building, right?
Yes, that's correct.
But the wording here is just a little confusing, so.
That's right.
Post frame building?
Yeah.
Where do you see that at, Jerry?
On the,
In the description of original building.
what is the limit, what is the
I think
limit?
metal / post frame building.
Okay, so have wood post and metal on the outside is building we know. Pole building.
Correct.
Right, pole barn.
Okay, but I thought you had to have 2 acres to build one of those. You only need 1 acre.
Over 1 acre.
You have to have over.
Yeah, over 1 acre. All right. Okay. You said you're gonna have a lift in there? That's why you want the 12 foot?
Yes.
And you said mowers?
No, just-
Is this a business arrangement or what?
No, it's not. Just a mower to maintain that 1 acre plus other yard equipment.
Well,
Two.
One to get it, main structure.
Correct.
Nothing else.
All right, any other questions, Nick?
No, sir.
I'm good.
Motion for it.
Make a motion that we approve the petitioner's request for this developmental variance to allow petitioner to build a 42 by 60, 2,520 square foot metal post frame garage, sidewall height 12 feet. The findings of fact. Subject to plat approval.
Second.
Okay, you all that?
I got all of it. Yes, sir.
Motion been made and second. Any questions? Roll call?
Nick Recupero,
Yes.
Jerry Wilking,
Yes.
John Kapoor,
Yes.
Jeff Bundy.
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. Your next meeting is the planning commission meeting.
Next Thursday.
Wednesday.
Thursday. Oh, yeah, Wednesday. You're right. All right, thank you.
One more time, Dave.
What did you just say? Yeah, on the 19th, right? 19th.
Okay, item number 5, David Hughes, 1326 West Renshaw, Chicago, 60608. This is 143rd and Colfax, Cedar Lake. This developmental variance allows petitioner to build a shed with a maximum size of 12 foot by 18 foot on a lot with no primary structure.
Hi.
What's the idea? What you like to do?
So I've got 5 acres of wooded space. It's kind of secluded on the edge of town. Trying to clean it up. It's very overgrown.
I drive down from Chicago almost every week and like spending time down here, and I plan on spending a lot more. But it gets kind of hard to haul bikes down here and tents and fishing stuff and tools. So I just want to have a shed to kind of store everything, keep it safe, locked up. So some of it's convenience, some of it's a little bit safety. I know there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood that play back in those woods. And I just, don't want anybody to get hurt. So.
What is your intent to do on this property eventually?
Keep it exactly as it is, but just clean it up, get rid of all the invasive plants. I just want to keep it exactly as it is.
You're not going to build on it?
No plans right now, but maybe someday, but that's probably years away. So for right now, I just want to use it as it is.
So when you come down for the weekend, you camp out on that property?
Yeah, we've put a tent up a couple of times.
And where do your children play at? What do they do? I mean, do they go to the lake, or do they?
We've got like a little
Or do you
wetland area.
work them all weekend?
Yeah, I do that too. We've got like a wetland area in there, and they just put their boots on and go walk around and look for frogs, and gotta get the kids out of the city.
Well, Vic, go ahead.
I was just asking, well, other than when you camp, where do you stay when you?
Oh, we don't stay overnight or anything. The great thing is we're less than an hour away. So we'll come down in the morning and hang out for a good part of the day and go out for dinner somewhere and maybe go fishing somewhere, or then, we're home later in the day.
The reason why I ask, it's rather unique, because we've had requests similar to this, where people want to put a storage building or a shed or something on an adjacent piece of property to their home, where they do not, possibly do not have the room for a shed or storage on their home lot. So they ask to come in here for this type of situation, they ask to put a shed or garage or something. So it's kind of a unique situation here, I guess.
Well, the problem arises that it's just vacant land, and we don't put storage structures on vacant land in town. And you do not have an intent to build, say, within a year. So I can't see any hardship here, or what, other than you say it's difficult to carry bikes, what have you, down there. I agree with that. But still, you need some sort of permanent structure on there to be able to put a shed up.
Yeah,
or you put up the middle-sized house, and then you qualify.
No, so the building would not be visible from any neighbors or any street or anything, because the property's big enough. So the structure wouldn't even be visible. I do have a safety concern with the kids in the woods, though. I was there just this week. I had a jug of Dow herbicide that I've been killing some of the bad plants with, and some kid had opened it up, and it was just sitting open. And I've got tools back there, and I've already talked to the neighbors about, listen, if your kids go back there, they can't touch anything. But the stuff's got to be locked up. I got to do something. So my option is I either stop cleaning it up, I just take all my stuff home, or I've got to figure out a way to store it, secure stuff.
Everything else? Oh, go ahead.
I just have one question. Everything that is outside now would be in this shed.
Yes.
Campers, no trailers, no
No.
boats.
No.
Everything
everything will be in the shed.
Yes.
Got nothing.
All right. Do you have anything else to present at this time?
No, I don't. Sure.
Do we have any remonstrators for this variance? Any remonstrators for this variance? Any remonstrators against? Any remonstrators against? Do we have anybody online? Parking lot? Written correspondence, anything?
No.
Being on the closed public portion of this hearing? Tim, building department?
I mean, I can understand his reasoning for wanting a shed, but personally, I feel that this would be something that would turn into a complete nightmare for the police department and everybody involved. A shed in the middle of the woods. I mean, you're out of town, you're gone, and once kids find out that that's out there, I mean, they'll use whatever means possible to, you know what I mean? Because it's just, I just think it's opening itself up for a bad situation, especially being where it is. I mean, it's located. Yeah, I mean, you get out there and you're in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? It's very secluded, and I don't think it's a great idea to put a shed like that. We're not. I mean, it's basically like a cabin up in the mountains out in the middle of nowhere. So I don't know.
He'd have taken a utility trailer and stuck it back there.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Something's gonna make up.
That's just my feeling. I feel that it would be I mean, I just don't think it's a good idea to put it out there in the middle of the woods with no electricity, no access. You know. But it's going to be found out, and it's going to be a kid hangout.
Mr. Hughes, Mr. Hughes, what are you looking at storing in there? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that at the beginning of your proposal.
It would be tools, mostly tools to do work on the property. Probably some bicycles, so we don't have to haul those down here. Could be, a tent, fishing poles, just anything that we might use on the property.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, I'm feeling the same way here. I don't really see a hardship. I mean, these are all things that I know it'd be a pain, but you can tote those back and forth with you. And to risk putting a building back there that kids can get into and stuff can happen, I think it's better off the stuff just right now until you or somebody else were to build a primary structure. That's my opinion.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Anybody else?
The last time we would Really?
How long ago? 3 years?
We're okay. You're talking about it, Jason. What? The other property. Started like this. Started all to brush. All that be clear.
You talking about this parcel of property?
Talking about another similar, someplace. In response to comments.
There's no home on it now. But there will be one.
The proposal is that there'll be a home. I don't know when that day is, or if that day is.
Well, I also hope to have a house someday, but it's not going to be in the next year.
I think I know who you're talking about. But this is 216 square feet out in the middle of nowhere. With some possibly dangerous material inside, herbicides. Um, I don't think with no intent of building in the near future. So I don't think we can go that route. I don't, but here again, I don't see the hardship. Now, the other thing is if you have stuff you have to store, I mean, you've got storage units around here that you can rent. 3 different spots come into mind right now. And that would mean you have to haul your materials that you need from, say, 41 and 133rd to Colfax. You know, that would be my suggestion, a way to look at it as opposed to creating a bunch of problems out there for yourself in the neighborhood. Because like Tim said, if once the word is out that there's a shed there and the people who own the property are only there once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks, little minds work pretty quick.
I mean, I guess personally, I mean, I would have less of a concern for it if you were clearing the property and putting something there that's visible. But when you go there and look at what's there, I mean, it's dense. You know, like you're saying, it's in the middle, it's out there and not visible. But I mean, if you're clearing a lot to build something, and you know, it's something visible from the road that's not in the middle of that.
Well, I could build something close to the street where it is visible. I mean, that's not an issue. And part of this was actually at the request of the neighbors as well, because they were a little, you know, concerned about all the kids. There's a lot of kids in that neighborhood.
Is this property tax?
No, it's not.
Is there already structures on the lot all the way in the back? What are those?
No, there's nothing.
Like there was a little shed and this is something.
Those belong to the people in that development. Are those on my property? I didn't think they were.
Well, that changes things, doesn't it?
It just appeared to already be a shed and, you know.
Also, there are structures on my property. I don't know.
So you're gonna put it all the way over here by
Yeah.
this entrance?
Yeah, right there by that entrance where the pointer is right now.
Well, you need to be careful how close you, I mean. I don't think I would have a shed like sitting right there on the roadway. I mean, it would need to be back a bit, you know.
Any other board discussion?
As presented, it seems like an invitation for unsafe situations.
Nick, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Sir,
Anything you'd like to add?
no, sir, no.
So it couldn't be done in any other way that would alleviate any concerns. That's
In a utility trailer, you can, you know, you can park there. That's a license plate on it. Or it's just, I mean, the thing is that it's just, if you're, I mean, when I drove up there and looked at it, and again, if you were, you know, if it had an intent to being to clear the lot to prepare to build a house or whatever, I think it's kind of differently. But if you look at that, I know you guys are enjoying the woods and enjoying that, but that secludedness and that shed in the middle of it is gonna create an attraction to the neighborhood kids. And you're gonna, every time you come here, you're gonna be calling the police because your shed's gonna be busted open, or you know what I mean, whatever the case is. But when you're gonna, especially you coming and going from out of town and being gone, and that thing is, I mean, it doesn't take long for that to get, especially, you know, I mean, out in the middle of the woods like that. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. I thought.
Utility trailer would have, certainly have more than one use.
Are you looking for a motion, Mr. Chairman?
We could entertain a motion, Mr. Kukuda.
I'd like to make a motion that we deny this developmental variance. I do not see any difficulties here with this property or any hardship. And I'd like to include the other findings of fact.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded on the floor to deny this developmental variance request. Questions on the motion? Roll call?
Nick Kukuda,
Yes?
Jerry Wilkie,
Yes.
John Kapura,
Yes.
Jeff Bundy.
Yes. The motion denied passes 4-0.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't hear.
I said you need to fix the lights.
Oh, no, I stretch my legs, I'll go home.
All right, item number 6, developmental variance, Cherry Group, 14133 Cedar Lake, in the city of 14132 Silver Street, Cedar Lake. This developmental variance will allow the petitioner to build a new 2-story home with a foundation floor of 0 square feet and an upstairs of 700 square feet. So this all goes along with item 7 on the agenda also.
No, it's totally different. There is a picture of the house in your packet that'll show you exactly what they're looking
They were Piece that in there. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
What would you like to do? Give us an idea.
Well, I would like to make use of a lot that's across the street from my other property. Next item. And it's a strange, the hardship is that it's on a strange street. It's Soper, and across the street is Huseman, and the street creates a Y right there. So it actually enlarges the road into like my property. And so it's a crowded corner. And I don't think it can handle a full-size 3-bedroom house with, you know, a couple and 3 cars or whatever. So what I would like to do there is build a 2-car garage for storage, mostly lawn tractor, that kind of thing. And then have the apartment above, which for the first year probably we would live up there while we're redoing the house across the street. And it just seems to be the best upgrade for the property and for the neighborhood.
There's no structure on it now.
No structure, no sir.
This is the one next door.
Whose is that?
That's my next door neighbor. And that's our separation on
This is his lot.
Yeah,
All the,
and that's his unit there.
They came in about 2 years ago, got the variance for that. They had their primary house on the lake, and then they had the second, same setup. Cross street, same architecture, same. You can see the one is the one, that's the new building, and then the next picture is that's their house.
And I plan on doing something similar with
Make it look like it's
with the same matching siding and roofing and so forth.
How big is that one?
His,
way bigger than that.
probably twice as big as the one I've got, but
What happens to that apartment after you move out, after you renovate your other house?
I had a couple of grandsons interested in it, that they might stay by me.
So
And
basically, you don't want to build a two-story house, you want to build a carriage house,
it's a
for lack
carriage.
of a better term. For
Yeah.
garage underneath for your horse and buggy
Right.
and place to live upstairs.
That's correct.
So based on that, what is the minimum square footage needed?
for 2 stories, 800 square foot of foundation.
Wouldn't this be a different category? If it's like a carriage house, what do you call that one they put up over by the, got a two-story, by the chamber?
Same thing, a variance.
That's why they're here.
That's why they're
That's
here.
why-
Yeah.
Oh, that's yours?
No.
That's why they're here for a
That-
variance. We
They
have
went
nothing.
here for a variance too. Same thing. We don't have.
But that was called a two-story?
With zero. There's a little bit of living space downstairs. This one or the one on? The one.
Both. Both.
I think, did you have a picture of what it would look like?
This
Yep.
just has stairs.
Yep. No,
Oh,
there's a
okay.
picture in your packet.
Right, but I mean, it doesn't have any space downstairs.
There's no picture.
Yeah.
It's this one.
It's got a foyer instead of stairs.
Oh, that was.
Would you have a problem bringing the square footage of the footprint up to 800 square feet?
No,
That's the
I
first
think
floor,
we're
that's
talking
the-
about 70
window
feet.
is with that.
If I take, right now, if I take the back of it out 3 feet, all I gotta do is make it 3 feet deeper. Doesn't affect the setbacks. And, that would give me 90 more square feet.
A 2-story is 1,600 square feet, 800 foundation, 800 living. 800 on the second floor.
So if you bumped it out 3 feet in the back, that would give them the requirement.
On the second story,
Just
not on
on
the,
the-
fo-
yeah.
not on the first floor.
Because there's no living space.
Right,
There's zero.
right. So I mean,
Put a bathroom on the first floor.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't, you need to have 800.
Well, I mean.
And he does have stairways.
I do have a full apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment up there. Laundry.
We don't have any ordinances to cover this type of building?
Nope.
No. And really, and this would be the primary structure for that lot, just like next door.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, this is a scenario for a lot of those small lots, like was in here earlier.
That's exactly.
You know,
exactly
so
what
I
was
think we need to, which is digressing from there, but we need to get working, or, you know, somebody meet, I don't know, an ordinance for this, you know, or a definition, because I think this is a great, if I were to build a house now, I would do the same thing, except I'd lose that door and put an elevator.
I'll consider that.
I mean, what other kind of structure could you really build on a lot? It's only 50 feet wide. All kinds of stuff.
this one, just the garage on the lower unit is 31 feet, which puts me at 9.5 feet on either side. So I'm
Yeah, so you
gonna be
bump it
spread
back,
somewhere.
you bump it back, you get 800 square feet upstairs. The variance for that one on by the, we were talking about earlier, that included no living space downstairs?
This one right here? Correct.
No, the one over by
Lakeshore
Chamber,
Drive?
by Chamber on Lakeshore, yeah,
He has
It's-
living space downstairs.
but not 800 square feet.
It's like a little,
It's got about 200.
So how's that qualified?
He came and got
he
it.
came and got a
Oh,
variance.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. So we can go ahead and without living space down there, we can still grant them a variance.
Correct. That's why you see
Yeah,
it.
Yep.
That's why I'm here.
been a long night. So I'm here too.
I know.
Okay. You might have a, do we have any remonstrators for this variance? Any remonstrators for this variance? Any remonstrators against? Anyone here again? Anybody online?
No, sir.
Any written or email correspondence?
No.
Okay. Being none, we'll close the public portion of this hearing. Any questions, Mr. Cupido?
For the petitioner, what, somebody asked you earlier and I didn't hear the answer, but what was the intention for this once its use is done with you inhabiting it?
I had one of my grandsons inquire about it. And I have 12 grandchildren, so that could be a whole long list of stuff. Or
Yeah,
we could use it as a guest house. That's kind of the plans right now.
yeah. I just, I guess the plan I'm not so much against, as long as this house would kind of stay with your home on the lake, because you do have a house on the lake, right?
Right.
So the plan,
That is my plan, that these two properties will all be tied together by design. And when I go to the next step here, you'll see that this is really kind of needed to help the original house.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, I like the grand plan you have here. And this, I guess, this next question would be directed towards council, who I couldn't hear a peep from tonight. What about some kind of development commitment with this? Would that be something feasible to have the property on the lake tied into this property that he's referencing?
But you could tie them together and have a contractual commitment with the terms of desire.
I can't hear anything that Mr. Austin is saying.
I don't know what to say, dude.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Okay. This property does have its own parcel, its own address. They will be paying sewer, water, and park impact fees, not water, park impact fees on this property also.
The same property owner owns both parcels.
Mhm.
Got the link.
Right.
This entranceway, ground entrance, the entrance door, those are stairs going up to the second floor. Now, in your square footage calculation, you did not include that, did you?
I don't know.
Because if you take 31 by 26, you come up with 806 square feet.
I'm assuming what you're telling me is correct, that
Well, I'm looking at the drawing you gave us, the site plan.
yeah.
Or plot or whatever it's called. So based on that, that meets, and you carry that upstairs, because the stairs go upstairs, so doesn't that meet the 800 square feet?
Ordinance says that they need, a two-story house needs to have 800 square feet of living space on the first
The
floor.
foundation.
That means,
I understand that, whereas he's going for a variance. I'll give him the variance for that.
I
I'm
don't know why
trying,
you
to.
keep reverting back to the 800. First floor is the garage.
I understand that. I understand that. 800 square feet, first floor. All right, if you include the staircase in the first floor, that gives you 806 square feet, based on the numbers on here.
I think what you're saying is correct.
Okay, now I'm saying if the staircase goes upstairs, so doesn't that staircase, isn't that included in the living space upstairs?
Sure.
Sure, okay, so based on that, you have to have 800 square feet of living space upstairs also.
I don't
So he
think-
doesn't have to bump it out 3 feet.
No.
Correct?
Correct.
He would meet, that's the point I'm getting to. So the variance he's asking for actually is just for 0 square feet of living space on the ground floor. Am I correct to my assumption?
Correct. Two-story.
Yes, you are correct. That's
I knew you'd
That's not
agree.
counted.
I knew you would agree.
Yes. What do you want?
I personally, I don't see a problem with this, but I was just trying to get it to where I understood it and everybody understands what I understand, but,
I don't think this is a bad idea for 50 foot, 5 feet from
I don't either. Everything I said for the last half hour. So just to clarify, way it sits now, the 800 square feet, he does not have to bump it out 3 foot.
No matter what, he's varying from the footprint though. So I mean, you have to say the,
Yeah, I will explain that, but I mean, we don't have the town to bump it out 3 feet. No, okay.
As presented.
I have a question. Regarding what Mr. Recupero just said, he said the owners are linked together. Yes, they're the same. But keeping this with the house that's on the lake, there's nothing to prevent him from selling this someday either, correct?
Commitment for what's land.
That's what needs to be in the motion.
That's come back here for their change.
So we want to prevent them from somewhere down the road selling just that residence.
That's what Nick had said.
Yeah, because I don't mean to interrupt. But basically, what my thought process is I can't imagine this board would ever allow somebody to build a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house, even though it has a 2-car garage, anywhere in town on its own. I know myself, I can only speak for myself and can imagine what you guys are thinking, that it sounds good because of his whole concept with the house on. That's all.
I don't disagree with you. I think it's a good package deal.
Right.
I can't imagine it ever not being more financially available to do them as a pair. Because this little house is never going to get you anything if it's not connected to the big house, or per square foot at least. So I'm okay with that.
We cannot here, or can do as body, however, alienate transferability. So what comes to this instrument that gets drafted is going to be very carefully worded. Style of home, property, etc. I can tell you, the first time I've drafted something like that, very, very delicate. So that there are no
But that's something that we should put in as a condition for
think it's that important. It should be it should be a contingency.
Has it ever been done before?
What is council's opinion?
We've said it a few times, but I agree.
He's saying that this has never been done and it would have to be carefully worded.
Okay, that's fine.
But do we? No. So, the maker of the motion tonight on this also needs to be very careful and detailed in the language that he's got. Sure.
Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
I realize, listening to all this and years, this, these two homes developed in this, that it was not. These two homes are on properly platted lots. They are compliant with town ordinance, but for the and it does not occur to me that unlike perhaps like Jay, decision where you very, very sensitive. There's a lot of sensitivity to commercial development. I mean, wondering what the difference is here is that you all are drive around the lake personally yourself, etc. As what's so unusual about these homes. I also live in about 3 houses away from the property, and I know the property well. It's fairly ingenious way to maximize a family housing permanent, not temporary. So I asked that question kind of rhetorically. I was asking for clarification on what Nick had mentioned. And if anybody, I wanted everybody was clear what it would take for something like that.
Right.
If we thought it was that important.
But the chances of, I think the chances of ever selling one of those without the other is absolutely.
Probability.
Yeah, because I mean the value, especially like Mr. Good stated, when you're in that cart, you can pull your car barely off the street to get into that lake house, and then you have a beautiful place across the street. I mean, that building's probably worth as much as the lake house just because.
I was not suggesting that probabilities of splitting those was very high.
Right.
I think you mentioned it, I wanted some clarification.
Gotcha.
Okay. Any further board discussion?
No, sir.
Okay. Motion is at hand.
Well, then I'll make the motion that we grant this developmental variance to allow the petitioner to build a new two-story home with a foundation floor of 0 square feet and an upstairs of 800, well, he's got 700. Does that create a problem?
Nope.
728 square feet?
That's what it would be without the kickoff.
Good.
Right?
So I should read that number, 700?
728.
With upstairs of 728 square feet. This property and home should be married into the owner's present property on the opposite side of the street and shall run concurrent with it for Infinity. Okay.
Perpetuity. I'll second it with the findings of fact.
Not certain it's development, guys, but
You're not sure it's developed enough?
Can I get clarification on something? I had a hard time hearing it.
Perpetuity?
What do you need, Nick?
I need clarification on the contingency on that motion that John made about the two properties.
That they stay together forever.
And how are we going to guarantee that?
it appears it will end up having to be by a commitment instrument that will run with the land.
It'll be a commitment instrument that runs with the land.
Okay.
I'm,
There'll be
I'm repeating what David is saying.
okay.
And you can't hear me, so.
Well, does that have to be in motion?
Well, that's your intent, yes. But remember what I said 5 minutes ago, that you were not authorized, while you would be stepping over your jurisdictional authority to restrain or alienate transferability of real property. You can't by your action. You would be marrying these properties for purposes of development, use, location, compatibility, or necessity of unified in that use. You can see I've struggled with the kind of description of it.
So
10 years from now, and make this commitment, say, hell to this.
So your recommendation is dropping the perpetuity for the motion?
I don't think the commitment is based on the practicalities of the service. But I'm not for it. I'm just observing, hearing, and knowing the neighborhood. How this homes could be built, and how the two homes could be utilized compatible. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if that answers the next question. Did you hear any of that, Nick?
No, I did not. What's the gist of it?
That we do not have to take any action in the form of the motion for a commitment. Because of the way that the neighborhood works and the way that they will have to virtually stay together just to make them both work as, even though they're separate properties, they're still working as a single developmental living unit.
So my motion is good the way I made it?
Minus.
So there's so basically there's a guarantee that those properties will stay together. Yes or no?
No.
No.
Okay.
There's been some discussion, Nick, that the probability of the ever being split is not very high. And that's what we've
Okay.
been.
Well, it's just I got you. It's just all right. I understand. It's just not a risk I'm willing to take. But I understand.
Pretty safe bet that these will never be, these will go together as a unit for a very long
Eternity. How do I clean up my amendment? Or do I withdraw it and make a new one?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I would withdraw and reread it.
I'd like to withdraw my last motion.
Thank you.
Gary's got to withdraw his second.
I withdraw my second, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion on
Thank
this
you.
matter. That we grant the developmental variance to allow the petitioner to build a new two-story home with a foundation floor of 0 square feet and an upstairs of 728 square feet based on the findings of fact.
That's good, that's it?
That's excellent.
Well, I thought I said that. I second it.
Motion's been made by Jerry, seconded by John. Any questions on that very short and precise motion and second? Roll call?
Nick Recupedo,
No?
Jerry Wilking,
Yes.
John Kapur,
Yes.
Jeff Blum.
Yeah. Motion passes 3-1. I just Number 7, developmental variance, Terry Drew. Vicinity of 14133 Houston Street. Allow petitioner to remove an existing one-car garage and build an attached garage with a front yard setback of 2 foot 6 inches. Jonathan, leave this. Good evening again.
Hey, hello. What I would like to do, and I believe if you have this drawing.
Yeah.
This will help you realize that I want to knock down and remove the one car garage and put up a new 2-car garage to the
North.
north. Because the road Huseman cuts across me, the corner of the one garage is either on the line for the road or very close to it. And if I do this, then I can stay 2 foot 6 off of the roadway, and I could create a new entrance to the house coming from the west that otherwise you had to go through the garage to get in the house. So basically and the easements and the setbacks, except for by the slanted road, will stay the same. And I don't know if there's the picture of the house now. And this is what it would look like if we redid it. And then there would be a front entrance and the garage, and then we're also going to raise the roof. But I don't think that's an issue now. So what we're talking about is the setback.
Basically, you're going from a 0 setback to a 2 foot 6.
Right. And I know that 2 foot 6 doesn't seem like a lot, but if I have to run utilities, if we get a road, then I can run water and all that on that 2 foot 6.
Right.
And not be underneath the road.
And the side yard is lining up with the existing home.
I'm sorry?
The side yard is lining up with the existing home.
Yes. Yes.
He's just moving this over to the other side.
I just want to say this is one much easier than the one before.
Well, I could bring out some pictures.
There's one picture here.
Yeah.
Front corner where that car is parked,
That's the existing one-car garage.
Right.
And
And
then-
the far corner that is not in the picture is sitting on the property.
No, no.
Let me
In
walk
front of
up
that
there.
car is in the street.
Right.
That corner of the garage.
Actually,
You got this, Sandra?
Yeah, I got it.
this is the street. This is the side of the house that the garage would be on.
Okay.
And this would become gone and a new entrance with a front stoop.
You're gonna raise the roof on the whole house?
I'm trying to put a master suite up there and then have it look at the lake.
All right. Anything else to that? Keep for a moment. Do we have your demonstrators for this, Mary? Your demonstrators for? Your demonstrators again? One again? Anyone online?
No.
One in queue?
Sure.
Correspondence of any kind? Nope. Seeing none, we'll close the public portion of this hearing. You can come back. No more yo-yo here.
Oh,
Building department?
I think it's a great improvement to the lot. I mean, it's better than it was, and some park garage space, whole project, so.
Sure, no problem. That's the improvement we've seen here tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. Nick, you have any questions?
No, no, sir. I like the idea. We're actually gaining something. We're gaining gaining on the setback. So I'm always happy to see that.
I'm speechless.
Facebook.
Yeah.
You? Oh my God.
I'm gonna call 911. Amy, call 911.
That's a good motion.
President, I'd like to make a motion, we approve this developmental variance allow petition to remove existing one-car garage and build an attached garage, front yard and side yard setbacks of 2 feet 6 inches.
I'll second.
Findings of fact.
Motion been made and seconded. Any questions on the motion? Roll call.
Edgar Kupido,
Yes.
Gary Wilkman,
Yes.
John Kapur,
Yes.
Jeff Lundy.
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. What's that?
You guys had fun here tonight.
It's been very entertaining. Item
The opposite
number 8,
lever.
Niner Farms. Is it Niner? Niner, I'm sorry. Petitioner Bob Niner, 2077 West, 900 North. 9,000. 9,000 North. Manteno, Illinois, the city of 13206 Colfax Street. This developmental variance which allows the petitioner to build a covered porch with a front yard setback of 20 feet.
Legal turn order.
Good evening. Good evening, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. How about yourself? So, looking to get a variance to build on the front of the house. Currently doing a major renovation. Looking to bump out. The front door is currently on, this would be the south side of the house. Looking to put it on the east side of the house for ingress and egress. Looking to bring out the roof line 5 foot out to the east. So that would leave me with 22 foot to the roof. Currently sitting probably 27 foot currently to the roof. Done back, remodel, yes, in 50, 60,
So you're just gonna put it right there in the front?
Yes, ma'am. Facing to the edge of pavement, or is that to the right of way?
That is to what they're calling the road. If you do I'm taking this brook line, bringing it out 5 foot, gonna make a walkway over here to the driveway. The front door is gonna go here. This will be a picture window when I'm done.
So the distance we're dealing with is like, Jeff's question was, are we going to the?
The line is about the pavement, yeah.
The line is the pavement, pretty close, yeah.
Asphalt, it says.
Line. It'd be about 22 foot to the pavement, or the property line, same line in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look down Colfax to the south, there's the view down the south of the street. Everything, I mean, other houses there are in that same proximity. It's not like, pretty similar.
Is that pretty much the end of Colfax? It is in Colfax. On the west side of the block. Boys and Girls Club property. And or it's school property. I don't know what goes to the north. I'm not sure.
Is that where Tom Taylor had his property? Tom Taylor? Yeah. Yeah, it's a big empty field going back there.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
You're right. I know where you're at. Okay. All right. I'm a block or two off. That's right.
It's a narrow street.
Very good. I'm good.
Right there.
Okay. But there are some planted lots.
Yeah, there's lots.
There's just no road.
I don't think so. Okay, anything else presented this time? Been having a speak for just a minute, all right. Are you here to demonstrate? Okay, do we have any demonstrators for this variance? Any demonstrators for? Any demonstrators against this variance? Anyone here opposed? Anyone online?
No, sir.
Any, no, sir, electronic or correspondence of any kind?
No.
Being none, is there anybody outside? Would you like to get up and check?
No.
No.
It's after 10. You are correct.
Move that back up. Okay, building department?
No, I have nothing. I mean, over the winter, he's completely rebuilt the entire inside of that house. You can't tell from the outside yet, but he's pretty much brought it back to life and made a huge improvement on it as so far as he's been going. So I'd like to see him be able to get the porch on it, make it look nice, and finish it off the rest of the way.
Are you gonna live there, or
It
are
would
you
be
flipping this
facing the
house or
road.
what?
It'd be facing the road that it was addressed.
Nick, you got any questions or concerns?
No, sir, I'm good with it. I think it's a good addition. I'm all good.
I'm good.
No questions.
Tim, we've got some concerns with that road, right? With Mr. Duff. Is that going to affect him?
No, not at all.
All right.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we improve this developmental variance to allow the petitioner to build a covered porch with a front yard setback of 22 feet with the findings of fact.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to grant this developmental variance as requested, including the final findings of fact.
Did Nick second that motion?
Nick did second that motion.
Thank you.
Any questions? Roll call?
Nick Recupero,
Yes.
Gary Wilkman,
Yes.
John Kapoor,
Yes,
Jeff Bundy.
Yes. Motion passes 4-0.
Have a good night.
Yeah, good night. Too. Public comment?
what about, Gerzik? We got,
Oh, yeah, what about Thursday?
they were aware they were supposed to be here, right?
Yes, sir.
Should have asked those restaurant owners that were here. Well, if we want to talk about it, I think if we allow it, they move in there, and then he also made a comment at the plan commission that if it works out good for him, they would like to bring other trucks in there. Make like a truck push. And I'm visualizing, a gypsy caravan every morning coming in and parking and leaving. Heather had concerns about bathrooms, restrooms, I personally think that if they want to bring their food and services into this town, they need a brick and mortar structure, a permanent structure to go about it. My personal thoughts.
I don't totally disagree with John, but I think this is going to be a temporary arrangement to find out if it's feasible. This is a strange feasibility study for sure. However, I had even mentioned timeline. 12 months, works out, doesn't work out, doesn't work. No extension. Now, you start inviting other people in, that certainly creates some other issues. All their concerns are legit, absolutely. But I trust that the formula, fees, and everything else are calculated to reflect those guys are concerned about.
And how close is it from guidelines and rules as far as an ordinance from the town? For a food truck? It's working.
They're closed.
They're close.
3 more months.
The discussion of the bathrooms, the outdoor dining that required the bathrooms. I had thought perhaps they would eliminate some of their details so they could eliminate some of their liabilities. But not showing up is a little concerning to me.
Well, we've deferred about 1,000 other people who didn't show up, so defer them and give them another shot. Come back next month.
Well, they're supposed to be at Plan Commission next week, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, then I would say, as much as I hate to say it, is defer it for a month and see what happens at the Plan Commission.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to defer this item to our next public hearing.
Which is September 10th.
BZA.
Yes.
And your second.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right, roll call.
Nick Recupero,
Yes.
Gary Wilkman,
Yes.
John Kapoor,
Yes.
Jeff Bundy.
Yeah. For pass 4-0. Now, public comment?
Yes, I have a comment. I have a question, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Can we please get the microphone fixed?
Thank you.
On
And
order. Nick was confused. He couldn't hear and I'm quite
I
certain-
almost took my
Talk here.
and threw my jeans on, and I was going to run into town hall to conduct this meeting. So I couldn't hear anything.
I have the same problem.
Me too.
Even from the board?
Bob,
or
we have no
just
problem
me?
hearing you ever.
Yeah, but I have trouble hearing Dave all the time.
Oh, y'all, I don't want you to say, y'all should have been here.
We're gonna get him one of those things like the preachers have with the clip on his back and the thing coming around his.
Be like an auctioneer, hangs on his shoulders, microphones here.
Maybe our new technology person can straighten this out.
It's on order. It's on order, Bob. We got it on order.
Okay.
When do you expect delivery, Mr. Kubiak?
It'll be here before you guys are here again.
Maybe David should turn his mic on.
Huh?
All right. Something else come from the board and a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I do have one question.
Oh, you do have a question?
The planning commission meeting was hinging on this meeting. So,
food truck?
Yeah, so is there any discussion at all for the planning commission meeting for the food truck?
Maybe not. Public meetings next week, so.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
How it goes? See how it goes. Any other questions from public comment?
No, sir.
That's when we get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion been made and seconded. Do we need a roll call?
I don't know if this mask is too
Aye.
Bob?
I feel like we're breathing the same
Aye.
air.
Aye.
Like, I don't
Okay, adjourned at 10:10.
Oh.
Does everybody else feel like they can breathe in the same air for 3 hours? Ready to take a nap?